The killer robot debate, the confidence gap between women and men, and what is behind this year's harsh allergy season. Welcome to Globe Now, I'm Affan Chowdhry. They are called lethal autonomous weapon systems. You can call them killer robots, and they are the subject of a United Nations meeting in Geneva today. The UN is trying to figure out whether there should be international laws on how these killer robots can be used. And it's the first time ever it's being discussed. But let's be clear, these killer robots don't exist, except in Hollywood movies where humans are hunted by robots or must stop some kind of robot uprising. But the strides that we have seen in robotic technology have been pretty amazing. These robots rely on elaborate sensors to move about quickly and without crashing into things. And it's not hard to see how some of these leaps in technology would have implications on the battlefield. Samsung Techwin has designed robot guards that are being used by South Korea. They are mainly operated by humans, but they do have an automatic feature and can fire a gun by themselves. And it's this trend that concerns activists. The group Campaign to Stop Killer Robots is calling for a ban. Why? Because machines should not have the power to decide when it's appropriate to use lethal force, they say. The other side of the argument is that killer robots would take soldiers off the battlefield and may even reduce civilian casualties because robots are more accurate. Stay with us. Up next, we talk to the co-author of a book about the confidence gap between women and men. There is a confidence gap between women and men. That's the focus of the book, The Confidence Code, the science and art of self-assurance, what women should know. Katty Kay is the co-author and host of BBC World News America. She joins us from Washington, D.C. Welcome, Katty. What prompted you to tackle this subject at this time?
You know, we wrote a book a few years ago about the value of women in the workforce. Companies that employ more women seem to do better than their competitors. And yet, as we interviewed senior women across the country, we kept hearing phrases like, I was just lucky to get where I am, or I was in the right place or at the right time, or maybe I'm not the person who's best suited for that promotion. And it occurred to us that we never heard these phrases from men, and was this just anecdotal, or was there really a gap in confidence between men and women? And when we dug into the data, we found there really is a significant difference in the way that women feel about their abilities compared to the way that men feel about their abilities.
Interesting. Now, the Atlantic article on your book and the book itself has gotten a lot of reaction and stirred debate. Here's one tweet. This article blew my mind. I use perfection to hide that I don't feel confident. Here's a more critical tweet from a feminist writer, Jessica Valenti. Maybe women's lack of confidence is not a personality flaw, but a predictable response to a culture that tells them they're not good enough. What do you think about that idea of it being a predictable response?
Well, you know, certainly the playing field is not level, right? We all know this. I walk in routinely to meetings and it's nearly all men around the table. I'm on political panels on television all the time where I'm one woman and 3 or 4 men. So clearly the playing field isn't level and we need more women in more senior positions. But that's in a way why we wrote this book, because there are a lot of things that women can't change immediately. But addressing their own levels of confidence is something that every individual can affect and has the power to affect right now. And it is one of the things that's holding women back. I mean, Hewlett-Packard has done a study showing that men will apply for a promotion if they have just 60% of the skills required. Women need 100% of the skills required even to go for that promotion. And that's the kind of way that a lack of confidence is stopping women from reaching as high as they can. And that's what we wanted to address in this book.
Well, Katty, what is your top tip for closing that gap?
A lot of it is about taking action. That women spend so much time doing what's called ruminating, worrying about things, seizing on the tiniest criticism and not letting it go. The smallest thing that they've done wrong is the thing that they will focus on. These are things that men seem to let slide off their backs much more easily than women do. And if you're always worried about criticism and always focused on the negative and your concerns, it's very difficult to build your confidence. Confidence, we found, is really about taking action. It's about doing the thing that's a little bit difficult, going outside your comfort zone, taking a risk. And those are things that men seem to find easier than women do, but which we have to do if we're really going to become more confident.
Thank you so much, Katty. Terrific talking.
You're welcome.
Well, we want to hear from you. Do you think women are less self-assured than men? You can find us on Twitter at GlobeNow. Now onto something many of us struggle with at the onset of spring, allergies. I know I am. And you may have been hearing a few more sniffles and sneezes around the office this spring. That's because this year could be one of the worst yet for allergy sufferers. The Globe's health reporter, Carly Weeks, explains.
For many Canadians, the arrival of spring signals the start of allergy season. And it's predicted that this year could be a very bad one for people susceptible to pollen and ragweed. Experts in the US and Canada say we should brace for a pollen vortex because of an unusually high amount of pollen that is being released in the air. In normal years, pollen is released gradually, but because of the slow start to spring, trees and plants have delayed pollen production and are now doing it all at once. The Asthma Society of Canada says that 1 in 5 Canadians are affected by respiratory allergies. And it's not just a minor inconvenience. For some, allergies can lead to lost productivity and an inability to get proper rest. Bad allergy seasons could soon be the new normal as a result of climate change because of more humidity, higher temperatures, and increased pollen production. Science is yet to find a cure, but over-the-counter medications can help with the symptoms of allergies.
Well, that's it for today's show. Thanks for joining us. If you've got a moment, hop on to Twitter. What should society do about the possibility of killer robots? Should there be laws that control how they're used, or should they be banned? Also, how do you feel about the so-called confidence gap between women and men? You can find us at Globe Now. I'm Affan Chowdhry. Thanks again for watching.